Howdy, folks. Today we're looking at Kroma number 2 from 2022 in Image Comics. Lorenzo De Felici's meditation on the narrative power of comic book color continues as the book's titular heroine learns more about life outside the strange fortress that supposedly holds the last readout of human civilization. Kroma is set on a world where color is dangerous, a lure to predators in the form of giant three-eyed crocodile beasts that patrol the jungle, eating any color they see. We see for ourselves the danger of color in this world. That's not a lie or a hoax, even as we may also strongly suspect that there's more to the story. Structurally, this is a familiar setup, a forbidding dystopia built on painful exclusion, built atop some kind of misremembered or misapplied historical lesson, with only the aid of a plucky young heroine to help save the day and put things right. It's a familiar setup largely because it works. De Felici's own note in the back of the book details the degree to which the story was changed by many subsequent rounds of pitch development. The origins of the story date back to before his engagement with the American comics industry, back to his career as a working colorist in Europe. Apparently there's an earlier version of the story that looks more like an all-ages album, complete with animal sidekicks and whimsy. That version of Kroma went nowhere, and soon De Felici found himself working for Robert Kirkman on Oblivion Song. As that series approached its end, De Felici dusted off his old proposal for Kroma, applied what he had learned from years of working alongside Kirkman, and changed the story into something more serious, less family-friendly, and ultimately more successful. The results are before us today. Kroma is interesting for all its major storytelling beats emerging naturally from color choices made by the artist. The grays and blacks of the human settlement seem stolid and oppressive, juxtaposed against the riot of color lying just outside the walls, very much the intentional effect. Nothing seems to draw the wrath of the color-conscious beasties quite like the vivid crimson of dripping blood. Our protagonist, Kroma, is a young girl ostracized from birth by virtue of the heterochromia of her eyes, a rare mutation in reality that usually just means a leg up in your music career, but in the world of our story means life as a sin-eater for a community of scared survivors under the control of a priestly caste of violent fundamentalists. She escapes the city and must fend for herself outside its walls, but, as I said, it's not like there aren't actually terrible monsters trying to devour every living scrap of color they can find. She is found and aided by Suristo, a former magister of the walled city, living a life in exile, seemingly chipping away at the lies that make up the foundation of society within the Great White Walls. Turns out he isn't quite what he purports to be either, at least to judge by the perilous cliffhanger with which our heroine finds herself in the book's final pages. We take color for granted across the comics page, especially in the era of virtuoso computer color, but De Felici succeeds in making color seem unusual and special by virtue of appearing dangerous. It erupts across the page with sudden and irrevocable violence.